That sound could mean a lot of things. And when something's going wrong at home, the hardest part can be figuring out what the problem actually is. At Thumbtack, you can upload a voice message or a photo, and our AI-powered search will help diagnose your project. Plus, the pros we know have over 14 million five-star reviews, so you can hire with confidence. Thumbtack, we know homes. Hire the right pro today.
This is Utah's best coverage of the Utes, Cougars, Jazz, and Mammoth. Here we go. From the guys who have been there for all the biggest moments in Utah sports history. You're listening to DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming over the 9 o'clock hour, Chancellor Johnson from the Big 12 Network and Chris Vanini from The Athletic are going to join us, talk about the latest on Texas Tech with them. And also, Brett McMurphy's got a power poll out, PK.
Big 12, yeah.
All right. Where do they rank?
He's a name in the biz. He knows what he's talking about.
Absolutely. We've had him on the show.
I got massive respect for him.
He's been hip deep in tons of stuff. Yeah, absolutely. And he's got Tech at the top.
You do.
Yeah. Doesn't everybody at this point?
I think the top three are universal.
Oh, Brett McMurphy is a clown. I want to see where this guy's from. Colorado. Doesn't like him. Probably wrote something negative about Deion. Got everybody mad. Brett McMurphy's not a clown. Respected veteran.
Yep.
All right, DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time to welcome in David Locke, radio voice of your Utah Jazz. David, good morning.
Oh, my gosh, a Friday morning with two of my favorites of all time during the draft season and two people who emulate exactly what every NBA front office is wanting. Patrick Kinahan finding his true meaning later in his development, starting as an upstart at the Daily Breeze, rising as a writer into a talk show gem and one of the greats of all time, adjusting his game as he develops into the all-star superstar you want. David James, the understudy to the great one at Santa Barbara, rising up, maximizing all of his potential, and becoming the star that he is. This is what front offices want. They want a little DJ. They want a little PK. That's what Austin Ainge is hoping for, maximizing who they are.
You know what the Jazz want? Because we don't. And it turns out the public, well, they do want that. Turns out the mock drafts here, David, are getting a little scrambled, providing a little drama. Whether it's real or not, we'll take it.
I think it's real.
Yahoo has come out with Cam Boozer. Cameron Boozer is the number 2 pick, according to Kevin O'Connor at Yahoo. He says, I'm moving Boozer into the slot. It's not based on any intel at all. It's just a gut feeling based on history. He goes into the Celtics history and the, passing on Fultz and sliding down and taking Tatum. And this follows what Bill Simmons said, who was going to the same logic earlier this week. And you're buying what these two guys are selling.
No, I'm not buying actually either of them selling. I am buying that the top of the draft is completely in flux and it's not made up. And I actually want to walk you guys through an exercise today because I'm flipped. I have flipped completely from where the narrative is. Kevin O'Connor is just talking. And frankly, putting out chalk doesn't get you any clicks right now. So, and I'm not saying he's a click fiend. I'm just saying putting out A.J. Devonta, Darren Peters, Cameron Boozer, Caleb Wilson right now has been done 1,000 times. Yeah. So I think in the media, that is people are doing something to try to get reaction, but it's because I think it's real. If you understand what I'm saying, I do think it's totally in flux. I think Cameron Boozer could go 1. Let me ask you guys this question. Which one of these players do you think is the biggest risk? Oh, actually,
Peterson.
Let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that. Which one of these players do you think has the biggest swing
Peterson.
from their upside to their downside?
I know exactly what you got. The distance between the floor, what's the worst this player could do versus what's the best this player could be. To me, the biggest gap is Peterson. He could be the leading scorer on a championship team, and he could go down as the biggest bust of the draft.
Okay, so I'd go the opposite. I think he's the safest pick.
Because?
And I don't think his upside is as high as everybody else's.
Okay, because?
Because unless he's Shea, Like a 6'6" scoring guard, like everyone says he's Devin Booker and he's Bradley Beal, which is great. They're both incredible. Devin Booker's been a top 10 candidate, MVP candidate once in his entire career. Bradley Beal never was.
But you just wrecked the argument by saying unless he's Shea. Well, what if he is Shea? That's the top shelf.
I guess I don't see him as Shea. I don't see him with that kind of ball handling skill. I actually think, and I think his downside, find me a 6'6" guard who can shoot, who's been drafted in the top 5, who's busted in the NBA. Like, it doesn't exist. Dion Waiters is the answer, but he averaged 12 points a game in Syracuse. It's not the same thing. Like, it doesn't exist. Like, you're a 6'6" guard in the NBA who can shoot, you're not busting. But I'll flip this. Cameron Boozer, to me, could be a top 10 MVP candidate if he really turns out to be a ball-handling point forward at 6'10", who can play the offense. I don't want to say he's Luka, but there's a lot of similarities, and also can do other stuff and can shoot it and is the fulcrum of your offense. But he also could be Jabari Parker or Marvin Bagley. I think he's the biggest risk. But I also think he has the biggest upside and might have the most likely upside. I don't buy the narrative on this draft at all. Like, to me, A.J. DeBonsa is the least likely to hit his ceiling, but his downside is 20 points a game. But I don't like that. I don't like R.J. Barrett, Paolo Banchero, but that's his downside.
Yeah, I mean, I look at Stephon Castle, shot 27% in his season at UConn, and he's improved dramatically. Why can't AJ?
AJ can, and Stephen Castle's a huge outlier. But he is the answer right now. He is a huge outlier. He's done it. Like, I mean, that is awesome. And if Stephen Castle can shoot threes like this, we're going to look back at that draft and wonder why Dwayne Wade didn't go 1. Like, I mean, he is Dwayne. If Stephen Castle shoots a three, he's Dwayne Wade with a jumper. He is going to be incredible.
For people who missed it, he shot 27 in college. He shot 28.5 as a rookie. He shot 33 this year, and now he's shooting 36% in the playoffs. I mean, the arrow is so up on this guy. It's fantastic. It's incredible.
It is, but let's give me a larger sample size.
I get it, but that's all he's played. That's all we've got. But it's like all you can do is get better, and it's like, well, this guy seems like he's getting better every month.
Right. I think the 36 is really appealing. He would be truly one of the first guys. Tyrese Maxey didn't shoot great in college either. He'd be one of the first guys in the last 10 years to make this swing. Like, guys that are below the 40th percentile in catch and shoot in college, almost none of them become 35% or better shooters in the NBA. But Castle might do it. And if he does, he's incredible.
You're not drafting a sample size. You're drafting a player.
Right, but I'm going to draft a sample size of 10 years worth of data that shows me that someone's not a good catch-and-shoot shooter in the European League, the G League, Overtime Elite, or the college, that they don't become above-average NBA shooters. I'm going to look at that data size, and at least I am, going to think there's something and really take that in and really think about that.
Okay, but I've got two competing storylines, David, and one of them, they can't both be true. There's one where they can't get better, but the other one where I'm told there's a bunch of talented coaches and and directors. They've got great facilities. These people are in at 7 a.m. every day all summer working on getting better. And the players are really into it. They're really conscientious in a way that maybe previous generations weren't, quite frankly. But these guys are, and they're super invested in getting better. So I'm buying that at face value, but that makes me think there can be more castles because they got the facilities, they got the coaches, they got the dedication. They can do this.
Build a castle.
Or that whole storyline is a bunch of smoke to make us feel good about bad teams.
I think you can be a decent shooter, and you maybe can make a decent shooter into an above slightly decent shooter. Like, I think there's something to touch. If you can't shoot, you can't shoot. I don't believe you can teach shooting. I think you can improve it with reps. You can prove it with, but yeah, no offense to all these great coaches in the NBA, like you can get some like Lou Dort suddenly couldn't shoot again, right? Like Lou Dort, someone like is taught how to shoot in the NBA, and then all of a sudden he couldn't again. So I'm not sold on it. Like, I think these guys are getting better. I think there's every other skill in the world you can probably add. Your handle can improve. Your balance can improve. Your strength can improve. Your condition can improve. But frankly, you think there's something to touch, and you either have it or you don't. And I'm probably on an island. Particularly most coaches want you to believe, and I'll hear about this, and I'm sure some of my coach colleagues / friends.
Yeah.
But I don't buy it. I don't think you can teach shooting. I just don't, and the data tells me I'm right.
Thumbtack presents Uncertainty Strikes. I was surrounded. The aisle and the options were closing in. There were paint rollers, satin and matte finish, angle brushes, and natural bristles. There were too many choices. What if I never got my living room painted? What if I couldn't figure out what type of paint to use? What if I just used Thumbtack? I can hire a top-rated pro that knows everything about interior paint, easily compare prices, and read reviews. Thumbtack knows homes. Download the app today.
And the data is there for everybody. And SGA, who you already brought up as the high example, went 11th in the draft, and before he was even anything close, he was traded twice. So there's holes in all these theories.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, we can play this. Wait. We can play this bullcrap game and decide to take the one-offs all the time. We can do that. That's fine. Pull the one-off out of the air every single freaking time. That's great. We can freaking do that. That's great. Super fun.
Okay.
But a really crappy way to evaluate talent.
But yet they had all that data, and he still lasted the MVP until the 11th pick.
Shea wasn't this bad a shooter. Shea's not on the list of guys who are – PK, we can play this game. I got 10 years of data. If you shoot below 40% on your catch and shoot, you don't end up being an NBA shooter. Stephen Castle might do it. Tyrese Maxey did do it. But you don't find it. You just don't.
Okay, I understand that. And that's on shooting, and you're right.
Yes,
but yet there were still negatives on SGA.
My turn. It's A.J. DeBonsa, my turn. A.J. DeBonsa shoots 38% from three. He's a top 5 MVP candidate every freaking year. If he shoots 38% from three, he's one of the 5 best players in the NBA. He's unfreaking stoppable.
Agreed.
He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it.
Okay, that to me is the question here, David, because he's shooting 33% in college, right? If he's that in the pros, right? But if he moves it to 35, it's a big deal. If he moves it to 37, it's a bigger deal. If he moves to 39, and 40 is elite, right? There's 40 guys shooting 40%. He doesn't ever have to get there. Like, every time he moves it up a couple points, he makes himself so much better. And I get your point about one-offs, but the fact is, if you hit on a one-off, it can make a coach's career. It can make a GM's career. It can make an owner a decade. I get your point. Like, if you got to make 100 of these decisions, but there are moments where the swings are bigger and the situation is bigger. And in a loaded draft, if you get the right guy at number 2, I get your point about playing the odds. You're talking to someone who's been playing the odds for decades on the radio, so I totally get it. But I got to acknowledge here, if they hit on the one-off, they're setting themselves up till 2040. It could be glorious if they're right. You got to be right about. You got to be right about the one-off. You know, and at the
agreed.
Yeah.
Two thoughts here.
Yeah.
One, the more likely scenario is he shoots 31, 32, 33% from three, and you have some variation of Paul Banchero, RJ Barrett, Pascal Siakam. You got to figure out how to use them. Okay, and that's not easy, right?
Right.
Like that's his downside. It's still 20 points a game. It's still an all-star. But if I'm shooting, part of my point here is if I'm shooting the one-off, then I might be shooting Cameron Boozer.
Yeah.
You want my one-off?
Yeah.
My one-off is that I just found a 6'10" point guard who can run the offense, is a culture changer, is going to absolutely wins at every level, can shoot the three. If you find big guys that play the handoff game that can actually shoot, Nikola Jokic and Karl Anthony Towns are kind of the only two in the NBA right now. They're the two best handoff guys in the NBA. If you play the handoff game with a big that shoots, the offensive numbers are incredible. If you can invert your offense and have Boozer play the pick and roll and overpowers smaller guards all day long going to the basket because everyone switches. If you can have Boozer suddenly take advantage of switches in the post, you might have a 20-point, 10-rebound, 10-assist one-off as Cameron Boozer. I think there's more likely, if you want the big swing, my big swing is Cameron Boozer. My big swing is not A.J. DeBonta. My big swing is Cameron Boozer.
If none of these guys project out to their best, if they all fall to their floor, and if they're all the worst versions of these draft projections, Boozer's the best player. And I
disagree. I disagree with you on that too.
What?
I think Boozer's the highest bust potential.
Okay, we're not talking about that. We're not talking. Yeah,
well,
okay.
No, you just
but
said it.
in the worst case scenario,
Worst case scenario, Darren Peterson is Jason Richardson. Worst case scenario, A.J. DeBonta is R.J. Barrett. Worst case scenario, Cameron Boozer's Jabari Parker.
A worst case scenario, Peterson is John Morant, and I can't figure out what's going on, and I don't even know if he's going to be out on the court or if he's going to be missing weeks or months at a time. I mean, the worst case with Peterson is horrible, and hopefully it doesn't happen, because the best case with Peterson is he's out there just lighting it up, scoring 30 points in the conference finals and the NBA finals, which would be way more entertaining for me.
There's some level of this conversation where the medical stuff I'm just assuming is okay, right?
Yeah,
like
we don't know that. We don't know that.
If they know something medically, if Cameron Boozer's got a knee problem that they know about, if Boozer's put on a tremendous amount of weight in the last 2 years, like is that a concern? That's what happened to Jabari Parker, right? And then he had a knee problem. So if there's something medical on any of these four guys, we probably should be talking Caleb Wilson here too. Then yes, all the conversation goes off. So in regards to floors, I'm not including medical.
Okay.
And I don't buy, I've seen players who I've watched on tape and thought to myself, oh, they don't want to play, or, oh, they don't want the ball, or, oh, they don't want the big moment, or, whatever, right? Oh, they're having an anxiety attack literally on the floor right now. It's happened. I don't see any of that in Darren Peterson. Late game, he goes and gets the ball. Late game, they go give him the ball. He pulled himself out of games and clearly had something going on medically where he was uncomfortable. But it did not, when I watched their close games, it did not manifest to me as a player who was ducking out of big moments or trying not to have the ball.
I get your point about one-offs, but I'm going to defer to PK right here because mentality matters. And the Ainge's mentality, whether it's Danny or it's Austin or it's both of them together, I don't think they do the safe thing. I think they think if we stare at this puzzle long enough, we will figure it out. And if one of these guys is a one-off, they think they will figure it out and get the right guy for the next 5, 10, 15 years. They'll figure it out. And it may go against the odds, and I get it, and I totally get playing the odds. PK, correct me if I'm wrong here. Is that how Austin and Danny are going to roll, or are they going to stare at the puzzle until they figure it out? And if they take a flyer, they take a flyer because deep down they think they're right. And you only have to be right one time to justify the draft. Be right with your pick.
And you must be right this time.
Yeah. So I'm banking on that, too.
By the way, I've studied this concept that Kevin O'Connor and Bill Simmons, our two Celtics homers, want to talk about all the time, about the draft history of Danny Ainge, and somehow as though Austin Ainge is a clone, because this is the first thing I would say is anytime I hear somebody in the national media talk about Danny Ainge's decision, they're not paying attention. This is Austin Ainge's decision. Austin is running the show. Danny works for Austin.
And Austin has said multiple times that they sit around and argue out players every day, all the time, and it goes back for years. It's just,
yes, and this is but this is Austin Ainge's legacy right here.
Yeah,
this pick will if Ace Bailey and this pick hit, Austin Ainge's legacy are set. And if this pick and Ace Bailey don't hit, frankly, Austin Ainge's legacy as a GM is set. That's truthfully what we have here. So, first of all, anytime I hear anybody in the national media start talking about, well, Danny Ainge's history says this, great, that's what you know, but don't think it actually has any impact today. The second thing is, if you even do study the Austin Ainge, Danny Ainge, there is no pattern. Again, we can do the one-off where we just talk about Jason Tatum, Markelle Fultz, one of the greatest trades of all time, but there's no pattern. He's drafted Fab Melo and Terry Rozier. Go back and Like, go back and look at it. If you actually analyze it, there's not a pattern. He drafted Aaron Neesmith. Okay, but that's a totally different player than Terry Rozier. Like, there's just not a pattern here. It's not true.
We've been told we have to go to break like 17 times. I guess we better go to break, David.
Why would you go to break? This is the best radio you've done in 10 years.
And that's why we've got, so, no, it's not 10 years. You've been really good more recently than that.
Okay.
Well, you got
It's
going.
about time someone stood up to you. You know what the problem is? You know what the problem is for the two of you? When you get to the top of the mountain, you have no one around you who will say no. You should be thankful that you have me.
We are thankful we have you. You missed a Friday a couple weeks ago, and I was disappointed.
So was I.
I didn't whine.
that.
Yeah, I didn't whine about it. You know, you show up a lot, and we appreciate it. But like, if we have a Friday without you, it's not nearly as much fun as a Friday with you.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
At least I know this. You got your money's worth out of this appearance.
Nice. All right, David, thank you. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you. All right, there's David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz. DJ and PK coming up at the 9 o'clock hour. Big 12 football. What does it look like with Sorsby playing for Texas Tech? What does it look like without him playing at Texas Tech? We're going to talk to a couple guys who covered the Big 12 in college football. Chancellor Johnson, Big 12 host Chris Vanini from The Athletic. They're coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. Stay with us.
Hey, it's your ceiling vent, so I'm dripping. Could be the rain, could be the upstairs bathroom. Yikes. You could hire the guy your neighbor recommended, but I'm pretty sure that's just his cousin. Do we know if he's licensed, or does he just own a ladder?
Listen to your home. Go with Thumbtack. Upload a photo or voice note, and we'll diagnose your project and match you with the right pro for the job. Thumbtack. We know homes. Hire the right pro today.
Summer is all about freedom, fun, and growing up. And between the ages of 9 and 13, kids are starting to form their views about alcohol. With more independence, their still developing brains need more guidance and support than ever. That's why summer is the perfect time to stay connected and plan fun, safe family activities together. Research shows kids who spend quality time with their parents doing what they enjoy are less likely to drink underage. And when kids feel close to you, they're more likely to listen, especially when you set clear expectations. In fact, kids who drink before 15 are far more likely to struggle with alcohol later. This summer, create a no-bummer summer with fun, alcohol-free activities for your kids. Go to summer.parentsempowered.org to take a quick quiz and discover ideas tailored to your family. A little time together can make a big difference. For more information and to learn more about how to prevent underage drinking, visit parentsempowered.org.